Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. Actually, this section of content is already finished because we've solved the WA file for you and also played the audio. Of course, this audio currently cannot play normally in the editor and at runtime. This issue is not easy to fix, so we'll set it aside for now. Then, let me share two cool methods with you to expand your knowledge base. Let me see where would be appropriate to write these methods. We have this method here. Let's call it, let me see where I wrote it down. Write it in this position. Let me change the name. We'll still use this name, do, but here we'll give it a Marshers1, the first cool method. Then let me guide you through writing it. This thing, let me take a look. Okay, we'll still use the old method here. We'll take this. Of course, this method must be called on the main thread. Because it involves oval, it must be called on the main thread. If you are not on the main thread, you can let it bounce to the main thread for use. This is also acceptable. Then, at this point, it's still the same as before. Calculating these parameters after the calculation is complete. Over here, we still have objet, objet. This part is all the same. The code is not much different. Then we take this data and convert it to the wave format. Then, at this point, if we are switching engine versions, we need to consider the engine version issue. Up to date here. The pointer to the data it originally points to. Then our approach here is a bit different. We have prepared an WaveModelInfo. We use this to deconstruct our data. Then we read our modelinfo. What we read as the converted result here. Of course, it's a bit redundant because this code itself is just for everyone. To run some tests and expand their knowledge. Then in the SoundWave, we set some parameters. Then these parameters here are nothing special to mention. They're just some calculations, some transmission parameters. Then after finishing, we copy these parameters into it, copy them in. Then at this point, we provide this parameter. We take this. There's this SoundWave. It now has a method like this. Right. This method can be used in the editor because you will find that this is a so-called. Then after you set it through the and at the same time you point through SoundWave. This pointer. Then this pointer here. There is an InitData for SoundWave. You pass in this SoundWave like this. After that is done, then you can call it successful. At this point, let's take a look. At this point, we don't really need to call it successfully. We just need to pass this object out. And then at this point here, in this calling method, we go back here. Is this a bit fast? It should be fine. Anyway, we just switch to a different method called SoundWave. We put this method, find where it is called. It should be further up. It should be called here. Yes, it should be this one. Okay, let's just call it like this. Let's comment this out. Comment it out, and now we use this method. Okay, now let's take a look whether something interesting will happen. I have already started it here. After it finishes starting up, I will turn off the microphone here. Then let's listen again. Study hard and make progress every day. Okay, did everyone notice? This audio has been successfully played. Isn't it amazing? I'll explain it to you now. Why did this happen? Because this is UE 5.4.3. UE 5.4.4. You don't know what it changed. I checked it. I didn't find anything either. This leads to it causes your original writing method to become unusable. So writing it this way can only make it playable in the editor. However, this writing method may not be correct. It cannot play during runtime because you will find many of these parameters are all hooked to this EC editor. It involves this cook part thing. So the reason we're demonstrating such a thing is to tell everyone the engine often lags a lot. Version updates. This way, many problems arise. Okay. Then look at this, like easy editor. Right, anyway, it means if you still want to, like in previous versions, use something else to do streaming, do this kind of dynamic creation, this kind of audio object, it might not be very convenient to use because I took a look, most plugins on the market, actually, they all inherited themselves this SoundWaveProcedural, such a class, then process this equivalent to this streaming audio data. Okay, then next we will write it in another way. This writing method is mainly to introduce to you WaveModelInfo, such a very interesting thing. It is helpful for you to read and write. WAV files. Let's close this. Then let's write another method. This time we will write it like this. Write it like this. We give him this method is also helpless. Now use it at runtime. Right. Anyway, you are desperate, but there is no way. And then this method is actually the same. I won't go into the parameters here. This means then here we do some work. We need to prepare a uintone 6 here. Then we take this number of sample points. Hey, remember the sample points? Next say nays owes 640 sample points. Then we plug this data into it. After plugging it in, we use this. Let's check if this module exists now. Let's take a look at this module. See if we can include it. Let's scroll all the way to the top. We'll put this information outside of the top. We'll control the occupancy. Put it here. We need to include these two. Let's put this one here too. The correct way to write it is to use this. Everyone can write it themselves later. This thing is actually very easy to use. This SoundWaveProcedural, we don't have the energy to make this for you anymore. Okay, then go to this place. This place is okay. Good. How should we write this next? We prepare such a buffer. Then prepare a writer for this. Then we directly use this method through this writer to pass in this buffer. Then through this writer. Write out this sound derive. I feel like it's written as a wrapper. Okay, this method, you think you are provided by the engine. Then shouldn't you be able to use it normally? Unfortunately, I have to tell you, this method can only be used in the editor. And moreover, to make them play, you also need to do some operations somewhere. And if you don't do these, it still can't play. So that's about it. Then we can all test it. This message too. Let's come back. Back here. Okay, let's put it back here. Let's touch it. This area is full color too. Now let's see if this method can be used normally. You don't need to package and test this. This one cannot be used. I've studied it for a long time and still can't use it. Okay, I've successfully opened it. Now I'll turn off the microphone. It seems to have failed. Let's check the reason for the failure. It seems to be during audio compression. A failure occurred here. Let's see if there's somewhere. Something was written incorrectly. Hey, let's ignore this part. Let's comment out these 2 lines of code. Let's comment out these 2 lines of code first. Ignore it for now, because it might be code I tested earlier. Now let's restart. I'll turn off this microphone now. Then you can see this. The engine's own methods don't work at all. So let's not worry about this issue. Let's just throw it out. Let's set this issue aside for now. Maybe it will be adjusted again later. That's all for this chapter. If you want to use it, you should definitely just use this method. It works fine in version 5.3 and earlier versions. We can see it in this message. Let's change it back. Here, we will no longer use these 2 methods, just use this one. Okay, then this chapter ends here. Thank you everyone. Okay, if you want to package it, don't use this plug. We didn't waste time making packaging judgments and such, because the plugshot was extracted from my commercial plugshot. Basically, there aren't many issues. If there are any problems, just contact me. Okay, thank you everyone.